If you've been waiting until you have enough money to start investing, I want you to consider the possibility that moment will never come. Not because you'll always be broke, but because that's not actually how investing works. Most Canadians who aren't investing yet don't have an income problem. They have a starting problem, and the longer that starting problem goes unsolved, the more expensive it gets. According to a 2023 survey by the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, nearly half of Canadians have no investments outside of their employer pension or their home. Not because they can't afford to invest, but because they don't know where to begin, or they assume the process is more complicated, more expensive, or more risky than it actually is. This video is for that person. The one who has a steady paycheck, maybe some savings sitting in a checking account, and a vague sense that they should be doing something more with it, but hasn't pulled the trigger yet. We're going to walk through exactly what you need to know to start investing in Canada in 2026. The accounts, the products, the order of operations, and the one mistake that costs beginners more than any bad stock pick ever could. Before we get into the how, let's establish something important: what investing actually is and what it isn't. Investing is not gambling. It's not day trading. It's not picking the next hot stock on Reddit. For the average Canadian just getting started, investing means putting money into accounts and products designed to grow your wealth over time, with the Canadian tax system actively helping you do it. That last part matters. Canada has built two of the most powerful wealth-building tools in the world directly into the tax code, the RRSP and the TFSA, and most Canadians are either using them wrong or not using them at all. According to Statistics Canada's 2023 survey of financial security, the median net worth of a Canadian family is approximately $385,000, but that figure is heavily anchored by home equity. Strip out the house, and the picture looks very different. The median financial wealth, meaning investments, savings, and pension assets outside of real estate, sits far lower for working-age Canadians under 45. That gap is what this video is about closing. Step 1, the TFSA comes first for most people. The tax-free savings account isn't a savings account. That name has caused enormous confusion since it launched in 2009. It's an investment account where every dollar of growth, dividends, and capital gains is completely tax-free. You put in after-tax money, it grows, and you pay nothing when you take it out. As of 2026, the cumulative TFSA contribution room for someone who is 18 or older in 2009 is $102,000. If you've never contributed, that room is sitting there waiting for you. The TFSA is especially powerful for lower and middle income earners. Anyone earning under roughly $100,000, you may, because withdrawals don't affect your income for tax purposes, which means they won't claw back your GST credit, your Canada Child Benefit, or your old age security down the road. If you have unused TFSA room and money sitting in a regular savings account, you are leaving a tax advantage on the table every single day. Step 2, the RRSP is a tax deferral machine. Use it strategically. The registered retirement savings plan works differently. You contribute pre-tax dollars, meaning you get a deduction on your income tax return, and you pay tax when you eventually withdraw in retirement. This makes the RRSP most powerful when you contribute in a high-income year and withdraw in a low-income year. If you're earning $85,000 today and expect to retire on $45,000 a year in income, that spread in tax rates is real, compounding money in your pocket. Your RRSP contribution limit is 18% of your previous year's earned income, up to a maximum of $32,490 for the 2025 tax year. You can find your exact limit on your most recent notice of assessment from the CRA or by logging into My CRA account. One thing to understand, your RRSP and TFSA are not competing with each other. They're designed to work together. The TFSA for flexibility and tax-free growth now, the RRSP for the long runway to retirement, and the immediate tax refund. Step 3, know what you're actually buying inside the account. This is where a lot of beginners get stuck. They open a TFSA, which is great, and then leave the money sitting in cash earning 2% interest, which defeats the purpose. An RRSP or TFSA is just a container. What matters is what you put inside it. For most beginners, the answer is an index fund or an exchange-traded fund, ETF. These are investment products that hold hundreds or thousands of stocks at once, tracking a market index like the S&P 500 or the entire Canadian stock market. You buy one product and get instant diversification. The most commonly recommended starting point in Canada and the one most fee-only financial advisors point beginners toward, is an asset allocation ETF. These are single funds that hold a globally diversified mix of stocks and bonds, automatically rebalanced. Examples include VGRO, XGRO, and XBAL, offered by Vanguard and iShares respectively, and available on any major Canadian brokerage platform. A 24-year-old in Regina and a 38-year-old in Hamilton both have access to the same products. The only variable is time. Step 4. Choose the right platform. To buy an ETF, you need a brokerage account. In Canada, you have two main categories: full-service brokers and self-directed discount brokers. For beginners, just getting started, self-directed platforms offered by Canada's major banks, like TD Direct Investing, RBC Direct Investing, or Scotia iTrade, and independent platforms like Questrade and Wealthsimple Trade are the most common entry points. Questrade and Wealthsimple Trade have both gained significant market share among younger investors because of their low or no commission structures. Questrade, for example, charges no commission to buy ETFs. You pay only when you sell. If you don't want to choose your own ETFs, robo-advisors like Wealthsimple Managed or Quest Wealth will build and manage a diversified portfolio for you based on your risk tolerance. For a management fee typically between 0.2% and 0.5% per year, that's still far less than the 1.5% to 2.5% management expense ratios common on Canadian mutual funds sold at bank branches. The best platform is the one you'll actually use. Don't let platform paralysis delay you by 6 months. Step 5, automate it and stop watching it. This is the step most people skip, and it's the most important one. The biggest enemy of the long-term investor is not market volatility. It's their own behavior. Checking the account daily, panic selling during a correction, moving to cash when headlines get scary. The solution is automation. Set up a pre-authorized contribution, even $100 or $200 a month. That moves from your checking account into your TFSA or RRSP on payday. Then buy your chosen ETF on a schedule. This is called dollar cost averaging, and it means you're buying at all price levels over time, which smooths out volatility naturally. A 2022 Vanguard study found that investor returns consistently lag fund returns by 1% to 2% per year, not because the funds perform poorly, but because investors make emotional decisions at the wrong times. The fix is simple: automate, then leave it alone. Here's what most beginner investing content doesn't tell you. Time is not equal for everyone, but it is the single most powerful variable in investing. More than how much you earn, more than which specific fund you pick, more than anything else. Let's put a number on it. If a 25-year-old invests $300 per month into a diversified ETF, earning a 7% average annual return, which is close to the long-run historical average for a globally diversified portfolio, they'll have approximately $800,000 by age 65. If that same person waits until 35 to start, investing the same $300 a month at the same return, they'll have approximately $365,000 at 65. Same monthly amount, 10 fewer years, less than half the outcome. That 10-year gap costs more than $400,000, and no amount of stock picking or fund selection will ever recover it. This is why the conversation about investing in Canada is not really a conversation about which ETF to buy. It's a conversation about starting. So why don't more Canadians just start? Part of it is legitimate constraint. Canada's cost of living has increased substantially over the past 5 years. The average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Toronto is now over $2,800 per month. Groceries, utilities, and transportation costs have all climbed. For a household earning the median Canadian family income of roughly $92,000 before tax, the margin between income and expenses can feel razor thin. But part of it is perception, not reality. There's a widespread assumption that investing is something wealthy people do with money left over after everything else is handled, that you need $5,000 or $10,000 to get started, that you need to understand financial markets before you're allowed to participate in them. None of that is true. Wealthsimple allows you to open an account and start investing with $1. Questrade has a minimum of $1,000 for managed accounts, but no minimum for self-directed ETF purchases. The knowledge required to buy a single asset allocation ETF is about 15 minutes of reading. The feeling that investing is for someone else, someone more educated, more financially secure, more certain about the future, is one of the most expensive feelings a Canadian can hold on to. Here's a concrete starting framework you can act on this week. Log into CRA, my account, and check your available TFSA room and your RRSP deduction limit. Write those two numbers down. They represent the tax-sheltered space the federal government is offering you right now for free. If you have high-interest debt, credit card balances, payday loans, pay those off first. A 19% credit card interest rate is a guaranteed return you can't beat in any market. Once you're clear of high-interest debt, open a TFSA at a low-cost platform like Questrade or Wealthsimple. Choose a single asset allocation ETF that matches your rough time horizon. XGRO or VGRO for long timelines with higher equity exposure. XBAL or VBAL if you're within 10 years of needing the money. Set up an automatic monthly contribution in an amount you won't miss, then walk away and let it compound. You do not need to have this perfectly figured out. A good plan started today beats a perfect plan started in 18 months. If this gave you a clearer picture of where to start, subscribe, because every day on Maple Money, we break down the decisions that actually move the needle for everyday Canadian households.